you said, we've been practicing for a while, so I'm just super excited to actually play in a game. We have our exhibition next week, and then the week after, we have 2 games. So I'm ready to get going.
Yeah, we returned most of our players, and then we're just trying to get the new guys acclimated into the system. And we had our first night the other night, and we're all just excited to play in front of fans this year.
Paige, you hit that. I mean, the difference between last year and this year in COVID, unfortunately, we're still going through it somewhat, but you said you had fans, you had first night, which I don't think you had last year. You guys can, I think, have fans at games for the most part, probably more than you had last year. Just what are some of the things you are excited for this season coming up? That, again, for you tomorrow night's your first exhibition game or an exhibition game, like going forward, what are you most looking forward to this season coming up?
I think just definitely fans. For me and Kaylin, our only year of college basketball has been with no fans. So to finally get that normal college experience of playing basketball in front of a crowd, either if they're all cheering for you or if they're all cheering against you, I think we're all just excited for that.
Yeah, I would totally agree. It's kind of weird to think that we haven't really played in front of our home fans or opposing fans, no matter where you're going. So I'm mostly excited for that. And then obviously last year, we only played 3 non-conference games. So really getting like a full schedule and kind of that real college basketball feel this year is what I'm excited about.
Yeah, for sure say the fans too, but also just showing, the fans, just the new players we got, and just showing them like what we could bring to the table. I mean, it's my last year, so I mean, just showing everybody what we can do.
I'm gonna piggyback off Liz and say, like, yeah, this is my last year, and for us, it's just showing everybody how hard we've been working in the off season, and just getting them as excited as they are for us.
And super excited to have all our fans back in CLA because, I mean, last year we weren't able to have even half of our normal fans. So, and just our fan base, they're just super excited to have us all returning and the incoming freshmen and transfers. So super excited about that.
You mentioned, I mean, I've talked to some of the WNBA players, and some of them, and Liz Cambage is famous for it. She loves being the villain. She gets more excited when fans are booing her and yelling at her and screaming at her than she does, in a sense, when fans cheer for her. Not that she doesn't like fans cheering for her, but there's something about getting booed or yelled at that just brings her game to another level. And I'm curious, I mean, you've all, Caitlin and Paige, you guys played obviously in high school, I'm guessing, against some hostile crowds, so to speak, when you weren't at home. And the other ones, I'm sure you've played in hostile crowds in your college careers. Does that get you a different level of amped up when you have 10,000 screaming fans yelling at you and your teammates and trying to, like, you want to, hey, we're going to beat them? That gets me a different kind of excited than like at home. And obviously it's always great having fans cheer for you, but is there something special about shutting the opponent's fans up, so to speak? I see you smiling, Ryan. I'm guessing there might be something there with that.
I do personally like going away rather than playing at home because it's just like fun to, touch the crowd or something, and like, they're all wanting their team to win, but like if you're doing good, then you can look at them and like say like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's just fun.
For me, I'm not one to really even look in the crowd. I try to just avoid that. But so I enjoy like home games, just hearing everybody cheer for me. But when people aren't really cheering, I mean, I guess it's just exciting because there's not much they can do.
I would agree. I'm more like a home court person. I think having however many fans you get cheering for you rather than booing you is a little better. But either way, like, I don't really mind it. I try to stay pretty focused on the court and what I need to do.
I think for me as a competitor, I think having a target on my back and everyone cheering against me, I feel like if you're a hooper, like when somebody's trash talking you, just reach a whole nother potential. You just reach a whole nother level that you tap into. So, I mean, I like obviously everybody cheering for me, but against me, I like that as well. Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. I feel like I perform the best when like the odds are against you, or like when they feel like you're the underdog or something. So those are the best games to me.
I'm guessing all 5 of you agree that having no fans is not good for anybody. last year having no one there, like there's no energy, you have to create your own, like whether you like being booed or cheered or whatever it may be, having nothing and no energy and no noise. I'm guessing all 5 of you, that was not very fun last year.
Yeah, it was just completely different. Just a different type of atmosphere. So I'm glad to have the fans back.
So let's talk this year for a second. I mean, one of the big changes, obviously, off the court, and I think you are five of the most well-known players in women's basketball, is the NIL stuff and name, likeness, and image that you can take advantage of now. And I'm curious, just what's it like for you? I mean, I'm talking to some of your coaches, some of you. Once the season starts, you probably focus just on basketball. But is it nice to know that you can earn money for your name as opposed to your school or whoever else maybe making money off of you? I think, Caitlin, you started a clothing line or your own shirts to sort of get something out there, just and I know of things from that nature. So let's start with you. Is it something neat to be able to use your name and your likeness to
Yeah, I think it's something that we've kind of been fighting for even since like the beginning of last season. And I think everybody knew it was coming, no matter how long it would take. But yeah, I think it's just a right that every student athlete should have. So I'm excited that it's here, and it's been really fun to watch every student athlete kind of do something different with it. Everybody has different interests, so it's been cool to see like them go down a path that they're really interested in and make a difference in their community. So I'm excited that there was that change. I think there's a lot of unknown still, so a lot of things to figure out. And as you said, like I think once we get into the season, that's kind of where all our focus is. And obviously you have school on top of that. So it's just another thing to manage.
I think the NIL deal is definitely just something that we needed. I mean, I feel like we just work so hard and we do a lot. We go through a lot and we still have to manage school. And so for us to be able to make money off of our names and stuff like that and just represent like where we come from is it's just great to finally see happening.
Anyone else want to jump in? I mean, I don't know, like, and I think, Paige, I think you have people taking care of it for you, so you don't have to worry about this, so to speak, as opposed to like people coming straight to you, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I signed with the agency, and basically I just don't want my plate to get overfilled. I know we have basketball, we have school. And then with the NIL, there's a whole lot of new stuff that can come at you. So just making sure you have a great circle around you that keeps you humble and keeps you grounded, I think was really important for me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. Probably just like I put it in someone else's hands just so I could just focus on basketball in school, because you know that's the main focus at the end of the day. I mean, it's cool to make money though, don't get me wrong, but like it's cool that they introduced that this year. I'm glad they did that.
Paige, you mentioned your plate being full. Your teammate, I believe, has a deal with Chipotle. Is that something that the team benefits from, that you can all get some solid fast food mecks if you want, so to speak?
No, the plate is definitely full on Chipotle. So that's nice to be able to hop off what other people do too.
No, that's great. Another thing, obviously, from last year, this year, there was so much made at the NCAA tournament for all of you with the gender inequalities. I mean, people saw firsthand the men's tournament, the women's tournament, how there were just differences. And the report came out, and they're making some changes, which hopefully for this year and then beyond, that will help the game of women's basketball. I mean, they're already allowing March Madness, which most people didn't even know you couldn't use for women's basketball. They're talking about expanding the tournament to 68 teams instead of 64. There's a chance they're going to start giving money to teams that make the women's tournament like they do on the men's side. I mean, you guys all experienced this last year. What is something you'd like to see be more equitable between the men and women? And NIL is part of that, in a sense that men and women both can take advantage of in college. What's something you guys saw or want to see that you think would benefit women's basketball for you and for players to come after you?
I think exposure would be a big start, because it's really about just getting us out there in order to have the equality and stuff. Like nobody's seeing us, because you know the men's games are on ESPN and all this and all that, and then our games sometimes get cut off, or like other programs will cut it in between. I just feel like exposure would play a big part in it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think in the Kaplan report, it talked about how much the women's tournament could really be worth And it was a surprising number to a lot of people, but I think when women's basketball is given that platform, there's a lot that people don't know, and then that they can actually tune in and watch if it's on ESPN or ABC or whatever network. So I was with Corey Close most of the summer with USA Basketball, and she's the president of the WBCA. So it's kind of cool getting her perspective on everything. And obviously she was super involved in that whole Kaplan report and just trying to make change. But I think some of the changes that have been made, as you said, the March Madness branding is something that you really wouldn't think has to be a thing, but it's good that they got that done.
Yeah, I wanted to hop on what Ryan just said, talking about exposure, because I definitely think that just giving us equal like coverage with our games is definitely like the first step. And also Caitlin talked about just March Madness. Like, I feel like that's something that shouldn't have even happened. So just kind of giving us equal respect. I think respect, a focus that that needs to just be there, because if they respect us for what we do, then there would be no question about if our shirts say NCAA tournament or just women's basketball or stuff like that. So I think respect and level of respect has to also play in this.
Yeah, I think respect is the biggest thing. I mean, the stuff that happened during the NCAA tournament last year, if it wasn't all over social media, it never would have got recognized. So just even before any of the disrespect happens, for them to just think about what they're doing and see how the inequalities lie on either side, and to just stop it before it even ends, I think is really huge.
I'll throw one more out at you from the report. There's talk of trying to do a combo Final Four, and I think 2027 be the first time they could do it. So unfortunately, none of you would be around for that, I don't think, as players in college. But I'm curious, I mean, I'm guessing in high school you might have had some double headers with the men or with your boys team. In college it's rarer, but there's sometimes that the men and women play in the same day or same night. Are you guys in favor of that? Would you like to see? I mean, it'd be a mecca of basketball. It would be the Final Four in one city, the men one night, the women the other night, and just playing. One city would host everything. I mean, is that something you think you would enjoy, or is something you wouldn't like? You think maybe that women's basketball might get lost in that, or maybe men's basketball will get lost in that, the way women's basketball has been going lately?
I feel like that'd be cool for us. I mean, like all of us being together, I feel like it'll be easier for fans to already be there so they could come to our games instead of like, a game in like two different spots. It's harder to get to both of the games. So if there was a doubleheader or in the same city or state, I feel like that'd be easier for us, especially exposure too. Like we was talking about, it'll be easier for them to come and watch the games.
And looking at it just this way of like, if all the games are together, there's like some people obviously disrespect women's basketball and kind of just say that we basically don't, like, no one really watches us. But a lot of these athletes and a lot of the college athletes, NBA players, they watch and support women's basketball. So I feel like if people were at the games and seeing how these athletes were supporting us, it would kind of change their mindset and stuff like that and how they view women's basketball. So I think it would be really good.
Those are all great points. And I think you're right. Why not try it? You have nothing to lose. I mean, give it a shot for a year. If it doesn't work out, try something else the next year. But how great would that be? I mean, there's been a couple times that the same men's and women's team has been going for the national championship. So if it's in the same city, I mean, could you imagine if your fan base had both teams to root for, how crazy that would be, having all those fans in one city? And the men's final, they could watch your final. I think it'd be pretty cool. Why not try it? I mean, it said the worst that happens is it doesn't work out. You do something. So, but I think you all have great points there. The last thing I want to talk about from last year to this year, I mean, there was so much made last year by women's players, men's players, college athletes all over the spectrum about social justice and how it's something that you guys are very passionate about. And I think it's one of the good things to come out of this last year, with obviously so much negativity with COVID, but some of the positives now, I think, was social justice movement and just things that I think last year are going to continue this year. And just your thoughts on what you guys have done and what you can do to keep that momentum going, so to speak. And Aliyah, I'll start with you. I mean, I just think it's something that is here to stay. And one of the really good things that came out of last year, as far as being recognized and exposure and things that I think can move forward, be a very positive thing that comes out of college athletes.
Yeah, last year, I mean, there were just a lot of different social justice standings on people before games. Some might kneel, some might sit, some might even stand. But I just think that the different choices that people make just brings more awareness to this social injustice that's happening in this world. And I think if the injustice haven't gone away. So this year, I mean, it gives us more of an opportunity to continue to make decisions or just continue to bring more awareness to it each game if that's how some people decide to go about it. But I just think it just gives us another chance to just continue to fight for what we believe.
Yeah, just to go off what she said, I feel like what better platform than sports? I feel like everybody watch sports, so they see like little badges or little names on our jerseys, they're gonna want to know what it's about or what it is. So when they do see that, it's gonna be easier to inform people when they looking for things like that. So I think last year and like the years before, it was a big step for us just to add like little badges and things like that, just to bring awareness to the game. So I feel like I wish we could continue that, just keep it going. I mean, we started it, you might as well keep it going.
Like, yeah, like listen. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
My fault. To piggyback off that, like with the badge and stuff, like I've seen some teams that have like phrases on their jerseys and like actual words on their jerseys, not just badges, to even get it out there more. Like with the WNBA and NBA, how they had phrases and words on theirs. I've seen it a lot in college.
And like they were saying, like no better place in sports to do all this because everybody watches sports. It's all over social media. So for me and for everyone, and age that we have, I mean, with all the Instagram followers, everything that goes on with social media, it's important to use what we have to make a positive impact in the world and use our voices in a positive way. And I think that's really huge with NIL too. With every deal that we sign, with every person that we work with, we want to make sure that our values align and we're standing for the right thing. So I think it'll be even bigger this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think for our program, it was just a lot of education. And I know we had a lot of weekly meetings and a lot of different things, a lot about different topics we could learn about. But I think with this year, like getting out in the community and doing more, obviously with COVID, that was kind of hard to really get out and make an impact. So I think that's just kind of one of our goals is to use our platform. People know who we are. So get out there and really make a change.
Those are all wonderful points. And I think you're right. This year, you can actually go in the community more because last year with COVID, you couldn't really because of COVID concerns and procedures and protocols. So I would think it's going to grow. And you five are, I think, five of the leaders of the women's basketball community that I think make a big difference of what's going in the future. And I think it's here to stay. And it's good that it's being discussed and openly and something that I think will be a very important legacy left by players in the WNBA and the NBA and college that I think is very good for everybody. So if I had a hat on, I'd tip my hat to you guys, but I didn't wear a hat today. So we'll have to avoid that one. But what else I got for you? So before we get to the fun games, I'm curious. I mean, COVID obviously is still around for the most part. It's gotten better, but it's still there. Do you guys feel, I remember last year players and coaches saying to me, listen, we're just trying to live day to day because you didn't know if you're gonna have practice the next day or practice the next week. Because if somebody tests positive, then that could take the whole team out. I think it's better this year is my understanding. Are you less concerned as teams, as players, like, hey, we may not have it tomorrow for practice. We're more focused on basketball, so to speak, than maybe last year? Or am I oversimplifying? And what people told me is not everybody that way.
I mean, COVID is still around and still a real thing, and we still get tested. So I mean, if somebody pops positive, I mean, it could affect certain teams differently. So I mean, I think that's still definitely a priority that teams are still focused on staying out of COVID's way. But I mean, it's definitely, I mean, we're feeling a little better about it though.
Yeah, I feel like this year we could focus a lot more on basketball, especially with like the vaccination rate. Most of the people are vaccinated that we playing, and most of our teams is like 100% vaccinated. So with people being vaccinated, it's a less concern like to catch COVID. Like you could still catch it, but it's a smaller chance. So I feel like they give us the benefit of focusing more on basketball than like COVID.
know, I mean, last year, Paige, I'll use an example because I know you guys were out, I think, for the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the season when people got hit, so you didn't play your first games for a while. Is that concern there for you guys at all? Or is it, you know what, if someone gets it, unfortunately, it's not going to put you out for 2-3 weeks. It may just put you out for a couple of days, or that person out for a couple of days. Is that more what it feels like this year than, oh my God, the whole team could be out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks if it goes around again?
Yeah, I mean, now that our whole team is vaccinated, it made me realize how crazy it was that we made it through the whole season without it getting canceled last year. Because I feel more comfortable. Our whole team feels more comfortable now that we're all vaccinated. But obviously, it's still a thing. We still have to be careful, and obviously, it still exists. But I think everybody just feels more comfortable this year now that we have a year under our belt and vaccinations.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's kind of the same boat we're in too. Being vaccinated makes things a lot easier and kind of takes a whole nother stressor away from you. Obviously, it's still there, but it's a little more on basketball rather than if you're going to have like a false positive or something right before the game.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than that. Being all ready to play a game and then someone pops a false positive and then obviously moves the game, which is not fun last year for anybody. But the last question I got before we play the fun games. I always like asking this question to you guys because I think you are role models. You are the best of the best. If you could tell your younger self something, or a younger girl or boy who's playing basketball in middle school or high school, a piece of advice, what would it be? What would you tell them? Something that you maybe got heard from your coach, one of your coaches, or something you just picked up yourself? What's something you would tell your younger self or a young fan out there about basketball?
Something that Coach Staley always tells us is don't get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. So I definitely would tell my younger self that, because basketball and life goes up and down. And so you don't want to get too high with anything, or if something bad is happening, get too low, because it can definitely affect you in a negative way.
I had a coach, so it's that like the only two things you can control is your attitude and your effort. So whether it's, you're having a bad day or anything, like never let it control how hard you work, or like what your attitude is towards the game or practice or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think for myself, something that Coach Bluter always tells us is be where your feet are. Like no matter what you're going to do, give it 100%, even if it's school or basketball or something else, like be totally focused in it, give it all you got, and the great things will come out of it.
I'll probably just say, like, fall in love with what you're doing. Like, you can't expect to, like, get better or anything if you're not, like, in love with the game of basketball. Like, a lot of people say that, like, they in the gym, but, like, if you don't love being in the gym, then you can't expect to get better. So I'll probably just say fall in love with your craft, see what you do best, and do it the best you can.
I would just say have fun. I mean, basketball is a game that's meant to be played, and you're supposed to have fun doing it. There's a lot of outside pressures. You can put a lot of pressure on yourself, but the game is best when you're just having fun.
Those are all great pieces of advice to your younger selves and any young fans listening and watching out there. So as I said, we got a new segment on this. Here, I thank Sue Bird for this. When she came out over the summer, when she was at the Olympics, was kind enough to join me one day. She's like, you have to have something fun at the end. You can't just like end on like a question, like have something fun. So I'm like, all right. So we're going to have the first ever Sue Bird buzzer beater trivia contest. All right. So I got 7 questions. It's Zoom. And I don't know. I mean, people have different internet speeds. I'm assuming you're all around the same way you're answering questions. So just let's do this. Blurt out the answer if you know it. All right. We'll go that way. We'll see who gets the most of this. Okay. They're all basketball related. So hopefully you should know the answers, or someone would, I would think. We ready?
Let's get it.
All right. Question 1. Who is the all-time points leader in WNBA history?
Taurasi.
Taurasi is the correct answer, yes.
That's nice, Rhyne. Got it. You got it. You got it, Rhyne.
But question 2. Where is this year's Final Four being held?
Minneapolis.
I think Liz got that first based on that. Paige, if you got this wrong, I'd be upset because obviously you're from Minnesota, and I would hope you know that you have a chance to go home if you guys make the Final Four for the 14th straight year, whatever it is. But Minneapolis is the correct answer. Question 3. Who is the all-time points leader in NCAA women's basketball history?
Kelsey Plum.
Paige is right. Kelsey Plum.
I got a quick answer.
Quick trigger here.
Let him finish the question.
All right, Jeopardy. Right, Jeopardy.
It's
rules.
like Jeopardy. If you got it, you can answer it.
For me to finish the question before you answer it. Okay. This one especially because you may know after the 4th word or 5th word. Who is the all-time triple-double leader in NCAA women's basketball history?
Sabrina.
I think Ryan had it first. Yes.
She didn't let us finish.
Oh God, no.
That was for so me.
I know you're all competitive. All right. Question 5. Who won the NBA title this year?
No, that was me, Ryan. That was me.
No, that was
I
me.
think Aliyah had it first.
I'm all set. Thank you.
That was Cap.
I got it.
Cap.
All right, we got 2 left. Old school question here. What year was the first NCAA women's tournament?
Y'all can have it.
None of you were alive when it
Go
was.
ahead.
I'll give you a hint.
I want to answer all fast. Go ahead. Answer this one. 86.
86
1982.
is close. What'd you say, Aliyah?
1987.
82.
Aliyah's right. 1982, first ever women's basketball.
You
I
looked
gave
that
you
up
that.
on your
Well,
phone.
can you prove that? Can you
I
prove
gave you
that?
that.
What are you
I gave
talking
you
about?
that.
I was
Said
just
it was
going off of
close.
86.
I
I
gave
just
you
know
that.
you.
Check her history.
Yeah, please.
So, side question here. I don't know if you ever saw Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. If you could phone one person for a trivia answer, who would that person be? Who would help you the most in a trivia question, a trivia contest like this?
Probably Sue Bird if she came up with it.
Good choice. Yeah. All right, question 7, the last question. 2 people have won Olympic gold medals as a player, assistant coach, and head coach. Can you name the 2 people?
Dawn Staley.
Don Staley.
Dawn Staley.
Staley.
Dawn Staley is 1.
And
Second one's old school, so you may not know her.
Pat Summitt.
Pat Summitt's a good guess. She never won one.
Oh, okay. Next.
I mean,
Person's
like
was a little younger than Pat Summitt.
Okay.
how old school is we talking?
Tara?
Never won one as a player.
Coach Jen Rosati.
Started the Olympic run in '96 of all the gold medals they've won in a row.
Coach Jen
Coach Jen.
Rosati.
Rosati's a good guess also. I don't think she ever won one as a head coach.
We gonna get this?
She was an assistant on the team.
I'm about to just start naming coaches. I'm gonna get her.
Nikki Pinson.
This is a hard guess, but Ann Donovan. Do you? Ann Donovan.
Very good. Good guess, Aliyah. And Donovan.
Are you serious?
What? I didn't even look at it.
Nah, you're cheating.
Anything go on? What are you
Let me see
talking
your phone
about?
right now.
Guys, well, I don't even know where my phone is.
She doesn't have her phone.
Just
Hold
call
it.
her.
Her hands are there.
Call
She
it.
wasn't typing.
Call
Type
it.
it into her computer.
What are you talking about?
And it-
Guys, I'm looking at you guys.
It's the glasses, y'all.
Please, there's nothing. I just got it like that.
All right. I'll give Aliyah the win because you got the impressiveness of 82 and Donovan. Who?
Thank you. What can I say?
You know, but
Cheating.
good
Give
job.
this to
Listen,
her.
Wait, I got like 3 questions right.
there's no wrong answer here.
How'd you win?
What?
Do you give Sue Bird a thumbs up for this? And I,
Yes.
all right. All right. Well, let me bring this to a close because I know you guys have things to do. First off, or let me finish off saying thank you once again for joining us tonight. Congratulations on preseason All-America status. I know you have so many other things you worry about and care about with the season just starting, but it's nice to be recognized by the media, I'm sure, and congratulations on that. Good luck on your seasons. That list for you tomorrow night's exhibition game. I'm sure the rest of you have exhibition games and scrimmages coming up, but the season starts for real, I believe, November 9th. So good luck on that. Hopefully we'll see all of you down in Minneapolis in a few months for the Final Four down the road. So good luck on your years. Stay healthy. Have a great season. And thanks to everyone out there for watching this premiere of season 2 of the AP Women's Basketball Conversation Series. So have a great night and see you guys all down the road.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.